If milk comes from a plant, can we still call it milk? Not according to the dairy industry, who are fighting back in the US at the moment with assistance from Congress. In January, for example, Wisconsin Senator Tammy Baldwin introduced the Dairy Pride Act. The bill stops non-dairy products such as soy or almond milk from being labelled milk, cheese or yogurt, which to me is really strange. But what's even stranger in this example is the fact that Senator Baldwin calls herself a progressive, while protecting the dairy industry in the face of growing opposition. Recently, Senator Tammy Baldwin spoke at a Wisconsin town hall. Animal rights activists then took to the stage to protest. Have a listen, have a look. This is the video. Let me know what you think.
Now, when you were fighting for your Senate seat against Thompson, you were also quoted as saying that he was fighting for the big and powerful and you were fighting for the underdogs. Isn't that what you're doing with this bill? Doing what you accused him of doing by sticking up for the big and powerful? In keeping with the progressive values that you demonstrate in other areas, how about working instead for those who have no power in this issue, a discriminated against group that is rarely talked about and heard from, the dairy cows in Wisconsin? You know about the destruction that the dairy industry is causing to the environment in Kewaunee County that has the highest concentration of CAFOs in the state. How do you defend this position?
Our dairy industry is very diverse. One of the things I'm most proud of representing America's dairyland are the small family farms. I don't know how often you get a chance to visit a Wisconsin dairy farm, but it is a pretty awesome thing to do.
To take the position that their interests don't count because they're not humans. How is that not discrimination?
It's discriminating and be done.
No, I want to respect what you're saying, and I don't know that we have time for my giving you a thorough answer, but I will tell you that I've had numerous conversations with fellow senators who have chosen to be vegan about the ethics. I am open to the perspective that you're sharing, but right now I have no apologies about the Dairy Pride Act.
Let me know what you think about this, and more importantly, feel free to message Senator Tammy Baldwin on Twitter, for example, in a constructive way. You could let her know that turning cows into milk machines has led to epidemics of production-related diseases such as mastitis, which is essentially udder disease, which is the leading cause of cow mortality in the US. This weakness is due to the extreme genetic manipulation and supplemented hormones which cause unnaturally high milk yield. So the more milk we want to consume, the more harm it does to the cows. According to the USDA, 1 in 6 dairy cows in the US suffers from clinical mastitis. This level of disease is reflected in the concentration of somatic cells in the milk. When a cow is infected, more than 90% of the somatic cells in the milk are neutrophils, the inflammatory cells that form pus. The average somatic cell count in the US milk per spoonful is 1.12 million. However, the dairy industry says the pus doesn't matter because the milk is pasteurized. What pasteurized means is get cooked. So as long as the pus gets cooked, it's fine and it's allowed apparently. Also, dairy milk has been found to contain an alarming cocktail of hormones, including progesterone, estrogen, cortisone and other adrenal steroids, IGF-1 growth hormone, leptin, oxytocin, prolactin, thyroxine and another hormone that I can't pronounce. So it sounds quite complicated, but really it makes sense. Cow's milk is designed for calves, not humans. And these days it's so easy to avoid cow's milk. If you really like milk, then you can have a plant-based milk. So many people are switching away from cow milk that the dairy industry is in serious decline. In the UK, for example, Over 1,000 dairy farms have closed in the last 3 years, and research conducted by Mintel shows that half of Americans now regularly consume non-dairy milk. People are also ditching whey protein powders in favour of plant-based protein powders, which have seen significant increase in sales recently. And research concluded that plant-based protein was best for building muscle. Just take the new plant-based protein powder Lentin, for example, which has just come out and has a nutrient density that is far greater than any of the previous plant-based protein shakes, and has a branched chain amino acid profile that is actually comparable to whey protein. This is groundbreaking. So, you know, we live in unprecedented times. Even farmers are making the switch. Just look at the news this week from Queens, where Elmas Dairy ceased its dairy operation after 90 years. CEO Henry Schwartz said the company had been operating at a high cost in recent years, and revealed that pasteurized fluid milk has sort of gone out of style. We're unable to continue to go on without ongoing losses, and there isn't much room for our kind of business. So this shutdown really reflects the ongoing trend in the dairy milk business, increasing consumer awareness of the treatment of cows in the milk industry, as well as consumer concern over saturated fat, cholesterol and hormones, etc. Not to mention the environmental impact of milk production. So, you know, I could talk about this for a long time, but let's leave this episode here today. Thanks for tuning in, everybody, and we'll be back soon. Have a great day.